folks, we are nearing the end of the muscle and strength nutritional pyramid. We've reached the top of the pyramid. We're now finally at supplements, the least important rank on the pyramid. And then next week we'll be talking about supplements, about lifestyle and behavior, which is the overarching theme here. So we've already talked about energy balance, macronutrition, micronutrition, timing, and now we're going to be talking about things that aren't necessary but may supplement some of the things we've done here that could help our efforts as bodybuilders, powerlifters, strength athletes, or anyone interested in changing their aesthetics or physical capacity in that whole strength hypertrophy kind of muscle and strength realm. So, without further ado, let's get on to it. So, supplements. These are things, dietary supplements that are produced that should supplement your nutrition. They often have things that come from food sources or natural sources or herbs or types of things like that. And hopefully can either benefit our health or our performance or our ability to get to our goals in some way. So big picture stuff. When analyzing a supplement, we want to make sure of two things, okay? Quality, and then the validity and effectiveness, okay? So quality, I'm not talking about does the product benefit you. I'm talking about does the label or what the product says it has match what's actually in the bottle, okay? So this is making sure that you have a high-quality product you're taking that's not contaminated or cut poorly or of low-grade quality or something that won't be of a high enough grade to have a good benefit for you. Okay. So a couple ways to ensure this. One would be lab analysis, so that the company actually has either access on their website or when you buy the product, they send you a third-party lab analysis that says, yep, here's what's in this bottle. Okay. Next would be a third-party certification. This could be like the USP or NFS or GMP stamps. That is basically certifying a manufacturing process or a certain quality of production in supplements. So these are basically a party that's not related to or that doesn't have a biased interest in that supplement company, that basically sells its service as an unbiased third party, and we'll go in and certify manufacturing places and tell you that. So if it's got a USP stamp on it, that's a good thing, or NFS or GMP. Okay. Also, using reliable suppliers that you're licensing their products. So, for example, Creapure. This is a company that produces and that has a staked interest in being known as a high-grade supplier of creatine monohydrate. So if someone is licensing out the Creapure name, then you probably know it's pretty reliable. Okay, so that is quality. Any of those things and all those things should be in place or in some combination before you buy a supplement, in my opinion. Finally, I would also recommend not getting products with proprietary blends. That is basically, it says the quote-unquote trademarked muscle blend, and it's like 30 grams, lists all the ingredients, but doesn't tell you the individual amount in each ingredient. This is basically a way to say, look, this is our special sauce. We don't want people to reproduce it, so we're not going to tell you what's in it. Too often, this becomes a way to disguise buying low-quality things or not having a high enough dosage of an ingredient for it to be effective, but making you think the ingredient is in there, so you buy the product. Okay, so avoid the proprietary blends, in my opinion. Okay, you want someone to tell you exactly how much of the ingredient that you want to buy is in their product. Okay. The next thing is validity and effectiveness. Not exactly the same thing. First, is it valid? Does it benefit you? And then, how well does it benefit you? What is the magnitude of effect? Because some supplements actually have an effect, but it's just so insignificant, it's not worthwhile buying. Okay? So some great places to check out are examine.com. This is probably the best website about supplements that exists in the world today. Okay? A couple of guys, Saul Orwell and Curtis Frank, got together and made this website, and they've collected the vast majority, and they're always doing it, of research on humans using supplements. And basically, you can go in there, type in a supplement, and you can find a full wiki on it, just like you're on Wikipedia about that supplement. And they've even added a really cool thing that I suggested to them. I'd like to think I was a part of it, of giving you an idea of the magnitude effect and the quality of all the different studies that have been done on a supplement. So they'll have all the studies, and they grade them. So they have the A studies, the B studies, the C studies, and the D studies. And you know that A is the highest quality research, D is the lowest, and everything in between. And then they give different columns. So they have, is it a benefit or a decrease in the given variable? And then is it a small, moderate, or large effect? And then how much agreement is there in the papers? That means, is there 100% of the papers show this benefit, or is it 30%? So you can always check examine.com to see, you know, what does this supplement do? How effective is it? How consistent has it been studied to show this? And then how worthwhile is it, right? And is the research that's shown this to be pretty high quality? You could look at something like creatine monohydrate versus tribulus terrestris, two things that are both highly often recommended in bodybuilding communities, and one you'll find has a whole lot of scientific backing, and you can tell exactly where, exactly how, and why, and one not so much. So the other one I'd recommend is the Journal of the International Society of Sports Nutrition. This is an open access online journal that does a lot of sports nutrition research, and they have position stands on things like HMB, creatine use in adolescents, nutrient timing, all kinds of stuff. And you can search them and find articles, and you kind of have researchers who've done the job for you. So between these two things, great way to look at both the validity and the effectiveness, and is it worthwhile to take the supplements. Okay? Now, I've compiled a list that I think, as of right now, is a decent one. There's always some subjectivity in deciding whether these supplements are worth being on this list or not. Feel free to disagree. We're going to talk about the instances that they are worthwhile, in what cases, why, how much, and basically kind of the order of importance, and talk about them a little bit. But this is my list that I would recommend under different circumstances for people interested in muscle and strength in cases of being in a cut or a lean gaining phase, kind of going with that same theme of the last few episodes. So let's start. First thing is we've got multivitamins, okay? The common bodybuilding multivitamin is very high in your water-soluble vitamins, and probably even some of your fat-soluble, to the amount of seeing 4-digit percentages of the RDA, like 4,000% or something. And if you're curious what the heck a water-soluble vitamin is, go back and see number 3. Okay, so I don't really like those massive bodybuilding vitamins that are either 6 tabs or horse pills or a large packet of pills that you're supposed to take on a daily basis. If you've got these things in order, really you only need like a regular one a day. So I would say during a cut, not a bad idea to have kind of a nutritional net and have a one-a-day multivitamin that's of high quality. And if you're in a lean gaining phase, maybe. Like if you know you don't have a whole lot of variety when you hit your macronutrition, or if you know you're not so good with the fruits and veggies and your micronutrition. So if you're lacking variety, if you're lacking your fruits and veggies, not a bad idea to get that multivitamin in, even when you're in a calorie surplus. Okay. The next, I was going to put fish oil, but I ended up putting EFAs, specifically EPA and DHA, because that is what we're trying to get out of fish oil. And you can get it from an algae supplement, so which is what the fish eat, which gives them the EPA, DHA. Okay. And basically, right around the effective range of where EFAs start doing their mojo with signaling leptin in the brain and reducing inflammation, enhancing mood, reducing disease factor risks, despite whatever that recent article on cancer linked to fish oil consumption was. It's an epidemiological study. I don't think it's a very strong link at all. You can read on examine.com about that. A little bit of a tangent, but back to EFAs, EPA, DHA, so health benefits, anti-inflammatory benefits, potentially recovery in joints, and potentially some metabolic benefits as well. Cut or lean gain, I would recommend getting enough EPA, DHA combined to be around the 2 to 3 gram range. So you look on the back of your fish oil, you add together the DHA, EPA, let's say it's 400 milligrams per serving. That means you need 5 servings to get 2 grams because there's 1,000 milligrams per gram. Okay? Next would be vitamin D3. This is something that we get when we get sunlight contact. It's our primary mode of producing this in the body. Having deficient levels of vitamin D3 can compromise the immune system. It is a precursor to hormones. It's been linked potentially to seasonal depression and a few other things, and sometimes maybe decreased performance in athletes if there's a deficiency there. Deficiency rates are a lot higher than we once thought, so it's not a bad idea to supplement it if you don't get sunlight, or if you're dark-skinned, or a combination thereof. So what I recommend is based on sunlight exposure, anywhere from 0, it means you don't need to take it at all, to 5,000 IUs on the extreme end, like if you're like me. Like you sit in front of a computer all day, then you go downstairs, train in an Olympic lifting gym that's covered, and then you get immediately in a car, drive home, and you sit in front of a computer. Like, no sun, okay? I do get some sun during the summer, of course, and that's when I don't take it. So modulate this to your sun exposure. Most people probably shouldn't be on the extreme ends unless they are in front of computers a lot, and hey, you guys are all watching YouTube, so you might be. So something to think about, vitamin D3 supplementation. The best route, of course, would be to get your blood work checked to see where your levels are at, to see if you're actually deficient. And yeah, okay? Now we're going to get into the performance supplements, for some of them. Creatine monohydrate. This is by far the most tried and true, cheapest and most effective of all the creatine variants. It's the original, and all subsequent creations of creatine afterwards are either inferior, don't benefit, and cost more, or just marketing hype. Creatine is produced in your body, already is present. We get it from animal products, mostly in meat, and specifically in raw meat, because when it's cooked, it degrades the creatine content a lot. And to get to the levels where it starts to benefit strength, muscle fullness in terms of water content, and power production, and long-term then your ability to produce more muscle mass over time, you need roughly 5 grams a day. If you're a small woman, I'd say maybe 3 grams a day. If you're like a vegetarian, it'd be like 7 grams a day. If you're huge, maybe 7 grams a day as well. But creatine monohydrate. Don't worry about timing. After the first couple weeks of taking 5 grams a day, you'll be saturated. It's just like filling up or topping off your gas tank. It doesn't need to be taken with carbs. Doesn't need to be loaded. Doesn't need to be taken pre-workout. Doesn't need to be taken post-workout. Just take it. Okay. Beta-alanine, kind of like the muscle endurance version of creatine. If creatine is for power, beta-alanine is for longer anaerobic performances and muscle endurance. So if you're, say, a strict Olympic lifter or strict power lifter and 5 reps you consider high reps, you probably don't need to do beta-alanine. But if you are a bodybuilder, or if you do a lot of supplementary accessory work for hypertrophy, or if you do anaerobic cardio, not a bad idea to get in beta-alanine roughly in that 3 to 4 gram per day range. So far we've had pretty much the same recommendations for these last 4, whether you're cutting or lean gaining. Okay? So beta-alanine, once we thought the time-divided doses were important, but now there's some studies suggesting that so long as you get it in, it'll build up and you'll have that benefit. So 3 to 4 grams a day beta-alanine, just make sure you get it in, you're solid. Same thing with creatine, 5 grams a day, and only take that beta-alanine if you're actually doing some extended sets, hypertrophy work, muscle endurance work. Okay? Now we're going to get into some of the maybes. Probably don't need it, most of the time don't need it, conditional type of things. So calcium. During a lean gaining phase, you probably aren't going to need this, especially if you have a regular amount of dairy in your diet, which is a good thing to have unless you specifically have an allergy to dairy or crazy lactose intolerance, but even then you can still eat yogurt, things that are low in lactose. So yeah, if you are cutting and your carbs get low enough, sometimes the dairy goes by the wayside. You don't want to waste your carbs on the yogurts or things like that, or drinking milk. And if calcium gets low enough and you're not getting maybe 2 or 3 servings of calcium, of dairy a day, excuse me, or if you can't fit the cheese in your diet because of the fat content, then it's not a bad idea to supplement maybe 1 gram of calcium per day. But I would say, Greek yogurt, low-fat cheese, these are things that can probably still be in your diet unless you're on a really restrictive diet or have some reason why you can't consume dairy. So probably not during lean gaining phase, maybe 1 gram per day if you're not getting 2 to 3 servings of dairy during the diet. Next would be caffeine. This one, I would say only take, this is probably the main pre-workout supplement that I would recommend, if anything. Okay, the rest, probably not worth it, or are just variants of caffeine, or just get piggybacked with caffeine. There are some other ones that work, but I'd say caffeine, tried and true, lots of research behind it, somewhere in the range of 200 to 400 milligrams pre-workout, and that can delay time to fatigue and perhaps increase strength a little bit. Here's the thing though, the more you take it, the more resistant you get to it, because it's a stimulant of the nervous system. So only take caffeine, I'd say, a couple of workouts per week. If you feel great and you're ready to go work out, don't take a pre-workout, okay? If you are down, or you're like, oh man, I feel like I'm having a shitty workout, then maybe take it. I try to take caffeine at most 4 times a week, okay? That way I still get the effect from it, and most of the time it's probably only once or twice, maybe 3 times. So that I can still have a good workout without it, and I still get the benefits when I do take it of actually feeling the stimulatory effects. Okay, so that's caffeine. Now we're starting to get into the ones that are barely made my list. Okay, so keep that in mind. Or if you disagree with me, that these are kind of the errata, the esoteric, the last few. So branched chain amino acids. I would say whether you're cutting or in a lean gaining phase, these probably aren't needed or aren't going to have a systemic benefit if you have your protein intake high enough. Okay. That said, if you are glycogen depleted or on low carbs or fasted, it may benefit you to have a pre-workout as it helps delay time to fatigue. So somewhere in the range of 10 to 20 grams pre-workout if you train fasted on a low-carb diet or are glycogen depleted for some reason. Like let's say you were going to do your high-intensity interval training right after a leg day. Maybe you take branched chain while you're recovering after you did your squats and you're going to do your hip. So relatively obscure reasons to take BCA, but still a rationale sometimes. Okay. And then finally, there's HMB. This is a metabolite of leucine. It's an anti-catabolic, and there's been some recent data which made me kind of bump it up back into my my radar of it, lessening muscle damage when taking pre-workout. So I thought, because of the theory behind it and the recent research, maybe if you have the money, if the money is there and it's laying around, 3 grams per day while you're cutting, or if you're doing like an overreaching cycle, like if you're running like small of, or you're doubling your volume or something like that, maybe not a bad idea to take HMB. Do you need it during lean gaining phase? No, you don't. So if the money's laying around, and if you're cutting and or doing an overreaching cycle, consider if you've got the extra ability to 3 grams a day of HMB. Definitely not going to make a massive difference, but might make a minute difference. Okay? So definitely check out examine.com. Remember quality, validity, and effectiveness. And this is my list. If it's not on there, I either don't recommend it at all, or there's only very specific times I would. Lastly, I want to give a shout out to Citadel Nutrition because they do all these things. I ordered Tier 1. It had Creapure and Carnosine, licensed versions of reliable suppliers. They gave me a lab analysis showing me what was in it. They don't use proprietary blends, and they only have 2 supplements. They only have 2 supplements they sell. They sell an EFA fish oil, and it's called fish oil, and they sell their Tier 1 supplement, which is creatine, beta-alanine, caffeine. So I was just super impressed, and they have a mission statement about being honest and high integrity, so I want to give them a shout out just because they do those things. So good job, Citadel. There's very few supplement companies like that. Great job, examine.com. And let's bring it in and take a closer look. So we are finally on to the top of the pyramid. We've got our need for quality, validity, and effectiveness. We have our list of supplements for the muscle and strength pyramid. And then what should be taken during a cut or a lean gaining phase. And all right, guys, good talking to you. And next time we'll talk about possibly what could be said to be the most important part, lifestyle and behavior.